The Delaware Voting Rights Coalition began in 2021 to protect and expand access to the ballot for all eligible Delawareans. We are Delaware's first statewide coalition of organizations and advocates working together to fuel voting rights across the state. We empower communities, especially communities of color, people who speak English as a second language, people who have been involved in the justice system, and young people to identify and remedy barriers to the ballot box.
And I'd like to be able to tell you that I've always voted, but it's not true. I haven't always voted. I have an enlarged heart. My wife has some immune system compromises, and we really welcome the opportunity, the ability to vote by mail. So that's what we did. It took a little maneuvering to allow voting by mail for people as a result of the pandemic, but it happened. And in that time, I started thinking to myself, why is it that we had to make an exception? Why is it that we simply couldn't vote by mail all the time? Because voting is something that matters. If you don't vote, then you're not going to have a say in the future of the country. And there are people in this country who are actively trying to make it more difficult to vote. We have to counter that by making it easier. No excuse absentee voting is a form of voting that allows people to ask for and submit a ballot and submit it without any excuses needed. Well, Delaware state constitution only recognizes 6 particular reasons why you can vote absentee. And if your reason for voting absentee doesn't fall into one of those 6, you can, in the worst case, be disenfranchised, and that's not a good thing. The reason why somebody might need to vote absentee is endless. You could be a single parent with toddler children, you have elder care, you can have job responsibilities that interfere. There should be no reason why anybody can't vote remotely. Delaware's been doing absentee voting for almost 80 years. It works, it's safe and secure. All voters should be able to vote absentee without any excuse at all.
When I decided voting was not enough, I didn't know exactly how I wanted to get involved. So I got active with voter registration and voter education efforts during the 2020 election. I decided to study the Department of Elections website, and I attended Board of Election meetings. These meetings were conference calls due to the COVID pandemic, so they were easy to join. From these meetings, I learned about ivote.de.gov, the website designed to provide Delawareans with everything they need to know about voting, and I had never heard of it before. At ivote.de.gov, you can register to vote. You can edit or cancel your registration. You can find your polling place and the times that it is open. You can request an absentee ballot and track it once it is received by the Department of Elections and make sure it has been accepted. You can see who your local representatives are and your voting history in the state of Delaware. With a permanent universal vote-by-mail option, registered voters could request a mail ballot before the election and return it by mail or at a designated drop-off location. Vote by mail would be an additional method Delawareans could use to vote, not the only one. One thing at the core of our democracy is choice. We should have an option in how we get to exercise our democratic right to vote. "34 other states have a permanent universal vote-by-mail option. Me, an informed voter who wants to research a candidate's position on the issues from the comfort of my home. Parents who don't want to pack up the kids in the car and bring them to the polls. A voter without transportation. A voter who works and can't get to a polling place. Any of these and many others would benefit from a vote-by-mail option.
Hello, my name is Nia Naylor. I'm a sophomore, political science major, secondary education, and legal communications double minor at Howard University, and I'm from Newcastle, Delaware. In the 2020 election, me and both of my parents stood outside of the William Penn High School for about 2 to 3 hours just waiting to get inside the building to vote for approximately 2 to 3 minutes. I have a lot of older relatives and relatives who have different health issues, and they simply would not be able to go through something like that just to vote. No matter how important voting is to them, their health is much more important. Same-day voter registration is one of the most important things our General Assembly can do to increase voter turnout. Estimates predict that we could increase voter turnout by 22,000 people. As a busy college student, if I could take one day that I dedicate to Delaware politics, I'll be able to research the candidates, register, and then vote all in the same time. Same-day voter registration increases voter turnout among those who face the most barriers to voting, like communities of color, low-income communities, and people who travel a lot, particularly young voters like me. As a student at an HBCU, which is a historically black college or university, we face 2 out of the 3 barriers, meaning we are both people of color and we're far away from home. It is ideal that we're able to vote by mail or expand the voting ballot. Delaware's current registration deadline is a problem because it cuts off very early before election season starts, which is the prime time for most people to actually get involved in election season and look into the issues. If you're a busy person, whether you're dealing with mental health issues, physical health, maybe you have children, work, or school, the deadline is not always going to be on your mind. No vote should be missed because someone accidentally missed an arbitrary deadline.
Voting is the bedrock of our democracy.
We may not like all the candidates in our election,
And we may disagree with the choices that other Delawareans may make when they vote.
but we can all agree
That every vote should count.
And that every election should be safe, simple, and secure.
Every issue that you care about,
Every issue that I care about.
and every issue that affects our daily lives is impacted by one simple action:
A vote. As the Delaware Voting Rights Coalition,
we stand ready to protect and expand access to voting.
Because our communities deserve a democracy that works for all of us.
learn more and join us at aclu-de.org/DVRC.